Yeah. How did you get started in coaching in the first place? So obviously you're a doctor, right?
Yes.
You got tons of years of experience and obviously the schooling for it. What made you like branch off and say, let me actually do like one-on-one consulting services?
Yeah, that's $1 million question. The reason I went into coaching is because, like pretty much any other coach, I had my own struggles with addiction. And my issues with addiction really ended my clinical career. So I hit a really low point with losing my license, being unable to continue to practice medicine because of my struggles with addiction.
Mm,
And so I was looking for a new direction where I could use my clinical experience, my medical knowledge, to help people in a new way. And at first, when I started in recovery, which was about 3.5 years ago, uh, I didn't know anything about coaching. I thought recovery was all about inpatient programs if you needed it, residential programs, same thing if you needed it, and therapy and 12 step. That was my understanding of recovery. Well, I learned about a year and a half ago that coaching was a thing, and I didn't really know anything about it, but I started exploring it more and realized that a lot of what I did as a clinician is coaching,
mm,
building rapport, listening, active listening, providing sound advice, really implementing guidelines. So, for example, like in the past, it would be medical guidelines, but directing it to the individual so that where I'm applying my knowledge and the guidelines I have available for recovery to that specific person and meeting that person where they need to be met in order to help them find long-term recovery.
yeah.
I like to leave about 2 hours per week for a client. The idea is really to minimize the gaps between sessions,
Mhm.
and where there are gaps between sessions, make myself as accessible as possible for my clients. So the way I work my business model from a fee structure, it's really based monthly. So you get 8 hours of coaching per month, and then built into that monthly fee is texting and phone calls whenever,
Mhm.
because that's when relapse happens. Relapse happens in between the sessions. It happens when people are on their own, and isolation is a strong driver for relapse. And so making myself as available to my clients as possible, I find is a very important part of keeping them in recovery. Of all the business approaches I've taken so far with regards to marketing and just outreach, I've gotten my clients through the relationships that I've developed
Mm.
uh, through that process, right? And through the people that I've kept in contact with and continue to talk to on a regular basis. That's where my clients have come from. So I've been successful with that. It's important to note that going that route takes time. And so, because it's not
Yeah.
like one conversation that, oh, suddenly I'm going to send you 10 people. No, you have to really build a relationship with someone, and they need to see who you are. They need to see how you think and the approach that you take. And so maybe you get one client with them to begin with, and then suddenly they start seeing, okay, this is what this guy is all about. And then they start feeling confident in both how I'm working with a client and how I'm working with them. So, for example, if I'm working with a therapist, right? So the therapist sees we connect on a regular basis, and I tell them what I'm working on with a client, and so they get to see what I'm working on in our sessions, and then I also provide my insights and feedback to the therapist, and he does the same for me. So we're really
Mhm.
creating a uh, uh,
Mastermind?
yeah, it's really it's a network for that client,
Yeah.
right? Um, in medicine, we would say that this is really the concept is creating a medical home,
Mm.
right? So what a medical home is basically it's a well, there's a number of things, but from a context from the standpoint of care, you have one person basically serving as a hub for a person's care. So if they're seeing, a primary care physician, and they also have to see a neurologist, an endocrinologist, or other doctors, for example, that primary care physician knows what's going on in all these other places, is in direct communication with those physicians, So everyone's on the same page with regards to how this person is doing and what this person needs for their care. And so
Yeah.
that's kind of the model that I like to mimic with my coaching. So knowing that I have other people that I'm working with and emphasizing the direct communication with them, I find is really key. In addiction recovery coaching, got to be careful with using AI because of that authenticity
Yes.
that's needed, that rapport that's needed. Where I can see AI, well, there are two areas. From the business standpoint, certainly making things more efficient is vital. All right.
Mhm.
So whether it's marketing, whether it is getting back to clients, um, if I'm, sleeping or if I'm unavailable for whatever reason, just so they know that, okay, Ken's not available right now, but he will be available, in 30 minutes or an hour from now, and he'll get back to you. Right. So
Mhm.
that they have I'm developing that expectation for them. So then they're just kind of, out in the wind. They have no idea where I'm going to, or when I'm going to get back to them, if I'm going to get
Yeah.
back to them. This way they know, okay, it's going to happen. This is when it's going to happen. But I think automating processes like that, plus the business side of things, whether it's um, keeping track of my income and expenses, so on and so forth. Uh, I think that AI plays an important role there.
Mhm.
I think AI can also play a role with regards to coaching at a base level.
Mm.
I think that there's a lot of coaching that can happen with AI when I'm not around, but it's basically kind of triage type coaching.
Right.
When we're getting into the nitty-gritty, I don't think AI is at a place right now where
Yeah.
I would feel comfortable saying, "Okay, I'm gonna, just hang out on the beach. I'm gonna have AI run all of my sessions." That's just not gonna fly, obviously.
Yeah.
So, however, if someone's in a crunch and they're struggling at midnight and they don't know what to do, and they're on the fence of, you know, am I going to, relapse or am I going to make it through the night? AI coaching can definitely help with that. And I think the reason why it's mostly helpful there, certainly it can give the right advice, but also because it allows a person to get out of their head. And so one of the big challenges with recovery is that people don't pick up the phone, they don't text, they don't make the phone call when they need to before they
Mhm.
relapse. And there's a barrier there for whatever reason. It's hard to really quantify why that is, but it's there. And so the hope that I have for AI is that while a person may not make a phone call, they may pick up their phone and chat to an AI to an AI platform that's appropriate for the situation, and the platform will help them get out of their head, give them the advice they need in order to get through the night. And then the AI platform will let me know, "Hey, so and so had a really rough night. I need to check in with them rather than waiting for them to get in touch with me."